Hello, I did my camera setup the correct way. All right. Make sure everybody's in focus here. I think that looks pretty good. Just gotta get it to stay focused on there now. To the live stream. One day I'll get this figured out, guys, but I think it looks pretty good. I'm just gonna check on my channel, watch it live, see how the focus looks. I think I'm a little out of focus still. We'll figure that out. Good morning to everyone watching. I'm over here in New Jersey on the East Coast, so I'm getting feedback here. It's still morning time. I thought it'd be a nice little morning to paint for as long as I can until I have to go pick up my son at daycare. So what's good? The delay is what I'm working on here. I'm waiting for it to come up on my live stream so I can see. I think that's a good focus area. Looks pretty good. Yes, I got chat, live chats open if you want to ask any questions or just chill and listen to the lo-fi music while I paint. I will do my best to explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it. Today I'm painting, I have 7 of these German assault and support troops from BMC that I'm going to be finishing up. I want to get them wrapped up today or tomorrow so I can post them on eBay to sell. I have like silly things that I want to do to, ensure a certain quality and a standard is met. It includes like going through the face, making sure the faces don't look absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the sculpts aren't helping matters much, but I want to make sure that they have a good quality to them and they all look consistent. So these are Germans, so they are all going to be Caucasian. And then I've got, some of them have various details that others don't. The biggest difference is really, I guess, this guy has the long mag pouches, and no one else really has those. Everyone else is pretty much wearing normal belts. I think everyone has a canteen in the back. Let me know if you have any trouble seeing any of this stuff too. See, it's still out of focus. I'm trying to adjust a little bit more. I don't know how to get it to focus specifically on the guys. It'll focus, like autofocus to my hands, which is a little goofy. Sorry if it's making anyone seasick. I want to get a good angle. Yeah, so everyone's got the canteens, except the officer here who has the binoculars. Tighten this all up so it stops shaking. All right, yeah, so I got my, my officer here. I'd say he's the closest one to being done. I gave him some subtle detailing, highlighting, nothing crazy. Want to do another pass on the boots and another pass of skin tone on him, and then the groundwork. So they all need their groundwork done. They all need a final pass of skin toning. Make sure that they all look consistent, and then I think that'll be it. They're pretty close to done. Oh, I have to paint the rifle of this guy. I think he's the only one. Oh, I have these 2 guys with rifles, so I need to paint those. And then yeah, if you see any other details, let me know. But I'm keeping them pretty basic. The models themselves are pretty basic. There's not a ton of detail, so I'm adding it where I can. And also black. I need to do some black on these straps, so we'll try to get through all that, and then we'll go and take a look at everything. This guy has like the most nearest complete tunic, I think. This one I went with some solid coloring on it, and then this guy actually next to him, he has a different texture of how I applied the paint. So I was trying to figure out what I liked more. And I think I'm going to leave him as is, but I might give the rest of them this sort of pinstripey texture, which leads me to question what I should do about his, because it'll look so different. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But what I'm going to do is start with something that's a little bit boring, but I need to get it out of the way, and it's going over all the straps in black, so I can get those kind of wrapped up here. So I have Vallejo acrylics today. Pretty much every day I'm using Vallejo acrylic black. See if that'll be in focus there for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shake it real good like that. I think that's pretty good. So over here on my palette, I got a fresh wet palette. It's just a small one by Army Painter, but it comes with these pre-cut sheets and I like how these take the acrylic better than using like just kitchen parchment paper, which is a bit on the waxier side. I think there's something about this stuff that I like. I don't know what it is. There's not that waxy side to it where the water just repels, which is fine, but I'm used to this. So I'm really just going to start with a very small dab of black, and I've got a water cup next to me. I've got my number 0 paintbrush. Grab that real quick. So I got my number 0 paintbrush here. It's a Kolinsky hair. So this is horse hair, right? It's Green Stuff World Silver Series. It's nothing crazy. It just has good quality fibers in the brush and easy to clean. It's not synthetic, obviously, and yeah, that's really it. I mean, it's just a good work brush. Nothing crazy. It's not like the finest detail. Nice point. These guys aren't competition quality, but they are much improved from what they were, I think. So little stuff I saw, I just need to go through. I should probably examine everyone, but I know this guy looking at them. So real simply, I just want to go in and start to paint the straps where I see them. So I wet my brush. I don't want it too wet. I wiped off a lot of the moisture. It's a small, thin brush, so it doesn't hold on to a lot like the number 1 or the number 2 does. So the paint will dry rather quickly if I don't keep cleaning it. So what I like to do is I'll paint as much as I can until it starts to feel dry. Try to get it before that, but once the paint starts to run a bit dry as I pull, then I start to know when I need to re-clean the brush and reload it. So here I'm gonna try and get it in a bit better focus on the level off. See how this looks. I think that's good. So right there. So I wasn't using the paintbrush, so it definitely started to dry on me a little bit. I might need to use my glasses. So I use magnification glasses. They're just reading glasses. Yeah, they are. They're real simple. They were $3. There's three for $9.99 at Rite Aid or something, and it's 2.75 magnification. Right here it says it. So I wear them. They're not heavy. I don't need that light device that some of them have. I tried that, and it really hurt the bridge of my nose. It was too heavy and not really worth the effort. So yeah, just looking at this guy a bit closer, his face is fine. I mean, I don't want to overwork the face. There's no detail in it, and it's kind of smushed a little bit here. So it's a fine face. I'm going to leave it as is, but I do notice there's some stuff here, like some skin tone paint that got on his garment there. So I'm going to paint that. Touch that up with the green I was using, which I believe was dark green German camouflage from Vallejo. Not going to do anything crazy with the rocket launcher, and the rest is pretty good. It's a very simple figure. I like it. can do a lot with it, especially in a diorama. So what I was painting with these guys, I was painting the top of their canteens black, I think. I don't think I actually did anything with them. Maybe I'll leave them as is, they don't look bad. Okay, I'll leave the top of the canteens black straps. So he's done. Let's check this guy. Looks all right. I definitely need to touch up his hands. And a bit of the strap down here needs some work. Ciao, Nicolo. No, these are German soldiers. They're from a set by BMC Toys called German Assault and Support. And I can send you a link. Hold on. Do that real quick. Post a link so you can see exactly what they are. If you have Amazon, you can check them out. So BMC German soldiers. So this is an affiliate link I'm going to share, so I will get like a 60 cent kickback if you do buy them from this link. But you can also just view it and get a sense for the price. So they're like $20 American from Amazon. And that's kind of, I mean, everything's up higher than it used to be, right? I think pre all the American inflation, those were much cheaper. They were about $15 to $16. It's still a lot of guys for 20 bucks. And painting them, they look really good, I think, but they have very inconsistent. So two things are very inconsistent: the faces, obviously, but the actual mold. It's not. These aren't hard plastic. These are soft plastics. So the gun barrels are bendy. I've been re-straightening them a lot, but this one specifically has been dripping down again. So you kind of have to always overcompensate for the barrel curve. So it's an inferior plastic, so it has imperfections all across it. It's very rough in texture. I don't really know how to describe it. It's porous, maybe is a good way, but I've applied very thin layers of paint here, but it looks very textured because the plastic itself is. I don't have any. It doesn't really show up. If you check out some of my shorts, you can see that before I paint them up, the textures aren't great. They're very like rough almost. So real quick with this strap. Just going and trying to be careful not to make too big of a mess with the black. And try to keep it in camera view. So I know painting black isn't the most exciting thing, especially when you're just doing line work, but it is good practice for control, so I'm going to treat it as such. So what I'll be doing is thinking about coloring in the lines, basically. And in order to do that, I need to go slower than usual. And I'm sorry, the people are mowing the grass outside, so if that gets louder than me or the music, they'll be done very soon. I have a very small yard and they get in and out pretty quick. So I apologize for the lawnmower noises if that's coming through loud. Forgot they were coming today. I was so excited to get on and paint. Yeah, so this stuff takes a lot of time, but I think it does a good job of giving the whole figure like a finished look when it's nice and clean. It does take time. It does add to the craft of it. You need to spend the time, focus in, go slow, be accurate with the lines. That's what I'm telling myself. Try not to miss any, because there's lots of spots. I have terrible, crippling ADHD, and this is something you'll see when I'm painting. I will bounce around, not even realizing I'm doing it, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I have to do the other side of the thing I just painted. And that's what's happening with the straps here. So in an effort to get better and more efficient, I need to also be conscious of the process and make sure that I'm focusing on one thing at a time. This way I can be more consistent and be more efficient. Yeah, be more efficient and then get more out. Make more videos and sell more of these little dudes. So yeah, these are going to be for sale if you're interested. Yeah, man, Legos. I love Legos, but I have a lot from our childhood, and a friend gave us a lot, which was a real nice gesture. But yeah, I don't buy new Lego because it is expensive. I was buying Warhammer for a while there, but I wasn't buying it new because that's also very expensive. And it's not that I'm a cheapskate, I just like to get a deal. Who doesn't, right? So I'll be like patient. It's sort of what led me to painting Army Men. I wanted to try something different, and they were so cheap. I also had a lot from when I was a kid in storage, so I busted them out one day when my son was taking a nap and started to record, and then I made that my very first video, which is a video on how to paint Army Men. And those are British paratroopers. But I didn't even know what they were. I've learned so much in the past year, 2 years, that my dog's getting upset. I think he wants to come upstairs. I've learned so much about Army Men and the toys. I love toys in general, but never really thought much about Army Men. When I go bring my dog upstairs, I think he's upset. He's got a cone of shame on right now, and he can't go up and down the stairs too good. So I'll be right back. Where's he at? Yeah. There he is. I record. Here he is. Hi, Bubby. All right, he's chilling with me now. For the 3 people watching, I think that includes myself. All right, so this guy's nearly done too. Touch up his watch a little bit. For what these guys are, I think they turned out pretty cool. Like just seeing the set with their uniforms painted for the most part. I mean, that looks really cool. It's the faces that make me laugh because they're all over the place. They look better in person, I think, than they do on film as well, but that's only some of them. Like this guy, he's got some pink coloration for his lips, and there's a subtle gradient that I can see. Then when I bring into the camera lens, it's so HD that everything looks awful, in my opinion. You have to be like super slow and diligent to get a really good camera ready paint job. It takes a long time to do that smoothly, especially with these sculpts. So I don't think he needs any black. This guy's very close to done. But I want to put a wash on his face. So there's this guy. He needs some black straps. See, my dog wanting to come upstairs disrupted my train of thought, and I put that other figure down. I wasn't even sure if I was done painting him now. Yeah, he's done. Done. Gonna put them up on the left if I'm done. examine them here. This was the guy. So yeah, so I need to go back to his gun. Paint these black straps. So here, this guy has a lot of little speckles from when I was painting his face. I got a little sloppy. The cool thing about painting though is if you do it thin enough, you can correct every mistake. Sometimes I overwork things though. Most of the time I overwork things, and that's what I need to get better at. I will just overwork something to death and then be completely at a different spot. Like I'll like it, and then I was like, oh, let me just touch up this one little area, and then that's where I make the mistakes. I get too into it and spend too much time on one little thing. So with the army men especially, I don't think it's worth it to spend a ton of time. It's better to just go on to the next one and try to improve on your mistake. But I still do it, so I gotta talk myself out of doing it. Hi Carla, thanks for checking me out, man. I appreciate it. Greetings from America. I think they're finally done mowing, so all that excess noise should be gone in a minute. Little stuff. Oh, yeah. I think maybe next I'll go in and touch up all the jackets, and then I will finish the guns. Then I can go into the faces and finish those up with some washes, and lastly I'll do the bases. Faces, then bases. So jackets, guns, faces, bases. That's the goal. Jackets, guns, faces, bases. All right. I think this guy needs some black on these back straps. So yeah, let me know in the comments how you guys are doing today, where you're from. Again, I said I'm in New Jersey. I'm out of near the Philadelphia side, not the New York side. So go Phils. But yeah, man, just chilling today. It's a chill day. Work is on the slower side, so this is my work today. If I can get these done today, I'll have the eBay listing up tonight. See how it goes. I'll post it. If you see a community post from me tonight, it's a link to the eBay listing. That would be sick to get these done. Then I have to figure out what the price should be, because I was very happy to see that my other set that I sold very quickly, within 24 hours, and it went through the buy it now, which was great. So probably keep the price in line with what I sold those for. We'll see how it goes. Those figures were Toy Soldiers of San Diego, so the quality is different. It's a soft plastic like this, but I think the faces are just a little bit better. I mean, they're still all a little goofy, but the face sculpts are a bit better on those. So I'll be curious to see if these sell like the other ones did, or if I'll have to adjust pricing in some way. In any regard, though, I'm planning to go on from these and do some British Commandos by Airfix, and they're a hard plastic with very consistent details. So, but they're simple. They don't have a lot of like bits and bobs on them. There's not a lot of straps and canteens and things. It's pretty much just ammo pouches. They're very simple figures. Okay, so jackets, guns, faces, bases, right? Okay, so just a quick touch up with the green I was using. So here I was using German camo dark green. That's what I used on all the jackets. And the pants they were dark gray, straight out of the bottle, and then light gray glazed on top for the highlights of the pants. His pants I added texture too, but everyone else I just sort of did like broad, flat paint jobs. So I like the way he looks. He looks different than everyone else. He's an officer. I'm just gonna leave it. People can let me know if they think I should adjust it to look like the others, because it's too much to go back and repaint everyone else to make it look like him. So it's either I leave him as is, or I make them all look like this guy. This guy actually needs highlights on his legs. So highlights on this guy's legs, but right now I'm doing jackets. So I'm gonna go to a bigger brush. I'm actually gonna go to my number 2 here. Let's see how this works out. I want a bit of a broader application from it. Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. Shit. Let me think. Sorry. What do I want to do? Maybe a 1. Remember to stay hydrated, kids. All right, excuse me. Okay, so over here, I've got my paint. I wet my brush a little bit. Just gonna add a little bit of water to it. It's already pretty thin, but I want it to be a smooth pull. I don't want it to, and I want it to be a thin pull, because I don't want it to glob up and dry thick on the figure. So I'm going to work left to right, just go through and look at the jacket, see if I have to touch up anything. It's like probably going to be a lot in the collars where I painted the faces. Anywhere else it's egregious, maybe on the arms where it meets the skin. Seems like those are the big areas. Alrighty. It's where the paint meets that I tend to get the sloppiest. So that's where coming in and doing all these little touch-ups takes me a long time. Start at the top here. I had done some black outlining on this guy, so it covered up a lot of the paint splatters. I don't think he really has anything. Okay, so he looks good. Good job. He was pretty bad, I remember. Try and get the focus in a bit better. Keep pulling away from the camera lens. My instinct is to go left and up. I don't know what that's about. Must be the way I shift my weight when I'm standing. I'm at a standing desk, which helps a lot if you're painting. I used to be hunched over at a desk, and the worst neck pain. I would lose sleep over it. I'd spend too long painting without properly breaking and stretching. It's one of these hidden things that no one really talks about, or that I've seen people talk about, at least in like a lot of the YouTube channels. Posture, and not bending over too much, and then properly stretching. I just think that standing is so much nicer. I've seen a lot of benefits to my health in it too. I'm just up more. My back hurts less. My neck hurts less. I think I definitely lost some weight from just like I'm a fidgeter and like the ADHD I fidget, so I think that helped me lose some weight a little bit. He looks pretty good. These aren't as bad as I thought they might be. I hadn't really taken stock of how they looked. Alrighty, so the jackets look good. Okay, so now I'm going to go through and I'm going to pull out some of the highlights of the coat. You can see this guy's coat is greener than, it's like a lighter color than this guy. I went a bit overboard with the highlighting, I think, on this guy. He was the first one I did, so I'm going to pull it back a little bit on this, but I'm going to use, I'll show you. I'm going to use, it's called Russian Uniform, World War II. It's a bit brighter than the camo dark green. It's going to be a great highlight color, nothing crazy. So if I use it sparingly, we'll get an effect closer to what we're seeing here on these pants. So right now he's got highlighted pants, but a flat jacket. So on my palette, I'll put this right here next to it. Wet my brush, pull a little bit of water in, use that water to thin down the paint. Then I'm going to smooth it out. I've heard some people describe how you want the consistency of this paint to look. You don't need a lot. Like, this is way too much. I probably could have done with less than that for the touch-ups, but I wasn't really paying attention. So this is, you want it to flow like a drinkable yogurt, I think is what, it was Sergio Calvo or Jose da Vinci who said it. Pretty sure it was Jose da Vinci. You want it to be like a drinkable yogurt, right? So then you want to pull a lot of it off, a lot of the excess moisture off your brush, and you want it to flow very consistently off the brush. So I'm going to pull this guy off. All right, so let's get into some highlights here. This is my favorite part. Highlighting and then a little bit of blending. I'll show you how I might blend if I was going to spend a lot of time blending. So all I'm looking for are the raised parts of the jacket in the sculpt, and I'm going to just pull towards me to the top of the raised area. So trying to pull towards the top. Just makes it a bit more procedural if I take it from the lowest part, pull it to the top. Lowest part, pull it up. Find what that is and then pull towards that area. Low to high. Low to high, here we go. You can already start to see a little bit on camera. Let's see. As it dries, it becomes much more subdued than it looks directly out of the bottle and wet. But as it dries, you do get some nice realistic highlight. It's a more natural like inclination to the highlight rather than being extremely contrasty. If I wanted to be even contrastier, I could add some yellow to this and really pop it up, but I want it to look like there's real little guys running around. So try to make them look as natural in color as possible. These broader areas. I'm still doing the same thing, pulling from the low to the high. If you wanted to really get a smooth blend, you would then stipple where the highlight ends and where the shadow begins. I have a little bit too much water on my brush, but you stipple, you get the stippling effect, and then you would glaze a very thin amount of paint over it from the low to the high. That'll give you a nice subtle transition, but my brush is too wet for doing all that right now, so I can only explain it. And it takes a long time, so it's better for like really great display pieces, Lauren, or competition entries. That's how the pros do it. Lots of little dots. It takes a long time. I think this is the most people that's ever hung out and watched it once. I think, no, that's not right. I think I did hit 9 once. I don't think they lasted very long. So this is looking pretty cool. It's subtle, it's not anything crazy, but it does highlight the folds of the jacket. So I can do this pretty efficiently across the rest. So I'll bring him to the left. This guy's done. So again, looking from the top down, just going to pull out these raised areas, move from low to high. So I will I'm gonna be like, I have him looking straight down on him, right? Because it's the angle where like the light would be coming from, the sun. I think I picked music that's a little too sleepy. Well, one thing that's good is I haven't had any camera issues yet. Now that I've said it out loud, I'm sure I'll have one. In past streams, my camera had been freezing up. I was just losing video. Then I'd have to restart and rejoin. You know, as I'm thinking about this, I think their collars are supposed to be gray. I'm gonna have to gonna have to think about that, how much detail I want to continue to add on. That's the other thing. I don't know what the investment, like how much to really invest time-wise, and how much I'd have to charge extra if it would be worth it, given the quality of the sculpts ultimately. It's an interesting part of doing this is I really enjoy it, but I can't keep all these guys in my house. Like I don't have any need for them. And I'm not making anything with them, and if I did, I'd just make some for a specific use, like a diorama. But I like the idea of painting them and selling them, and other people can enjoy them and make their own dioramas with them. The painting part is my favorite part. I need to make a decision if I'm going to paint their collars. I don't know what this is supposed to be. I couldn't find like a reference for what this is. I'm sure there's someone with a lot of military knowledge who can tell me what that is. I've looked at pictures of these guys and I saw different colors and different camos used, and I don't think I saw anything that's that. It almost looks like a tie, but I know it's not a tie. Okay, 2 done, 3 done, 4. 7 total to 2. So 4 done, 3 done, 4 to go. So I guess technically the officer's done, so 3 more. Just like I did it before. Low to high. Brush is a little dry. Get a lot of the moisture off the hairs by using your hand. You just go back and get a little bit more of the paint. Always adjusting to find that perfect consistency. My hand slips a lot. I've gotten a lot better at it. I also put my hands all over the figures too, which isn't great. If I really want to improve, I need to be more conscious of that. It's just something where, again, it's not the kind of piece where I'm overly concerned about it. Yeah, it's a little frustrating with these guys, with the consistency of the actual texture of the figures, because of the soft nature, like the soft plastic is very porous, like I said. It's not really coming up on camera here, but in an HD video of it, you could see it a bit more clearly. It's like every time I pull, there's like these little, but it doesn't matter how consistent the paint is, there's always like these little black dots that form, these little areas where the color isn't filling in correctly, like as smoothly. So I'm wondering if these would be better to just, dry brush and then call a day. So I'll have to look into that for if I do these again, any soft plastics. For now though, I'm going to stick to this method. I'm going to be quiet for a little bit. I don't know why I just thought to do this now for the first time. This guy's face is so goofy. Doing on time. Wow, I can't believe it's been, I went live a little early. It's 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. I might change the music here because it's putting me to sleep. It's chill, but. Hey, Joe. Sorry, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really talking much, so. It's just me chilling. It's annoying. I don't like that. Lo-fi autumn vibes. It is a very fall-y day here. Hey, Little Savage. Thanks for popping in, man. Let me get this a bit more centered. Thanks, comrade. Nice to have you here. If you are watching and joining, let me know if you want me to talk or if you just want to chill with me while I paint. I don't know if I should be talking the entire time. Right now I'm just highlighting jackets. Okay, 2 more to do. Well, maybe I just paint the same guy I just painted. So I got 2 of these sculpts, and then I've got the machine gunner here. These are my last 2 guys to do up real quick. Similar approach. Sorry, I keep covering it up with my hand. I'll be more conscious of that. Jackets, guns, then faces and bases. Almost done. It's good to have this as the only guy I have duplicates of for this series, and it's nice to have the other one to reference, see what I missed. Brush is a little dry. one to go. Double check these guys. I guess his jacket needs a bit more. Honestly, not missing spots is hard, especially when you've got a lot to get through. I tend to want to rush, but painting models, they're 360. They're meant to be viewed 360, so you gotta keep an eye on the spots. Make sure you don't miss anything major. Everything needs to get painted. All right, that looks good. On to this last guy here. Last one of this set, and then on to the faces. No, the guns. Jackets, then guns. Hey, your pal with a mask. Did you? I guess it depends. So if it's like a plastic that you bought, I guess it's hard to describe. If it's a model plastic, you said you're painting some American Iraq War soldiers. Depending on the brand, you may need to wash them with like a light detergent first. So basically, dish soap. Anything with bubbles really to get all the oil off, and then you need to prime it with a primer. I use a rattle can primer, so just spray paint, and I use Vallejo paint. If you go paint right on a plastic surface, depending on the plastic, like I have different guides here. I have some, I don't even know where they are. So right here I've got an example of a plastic that does not take paint well at all. This is a set of pirates and skeletons that I bought from Amazon. It's a soft plastic. I spray painted it black, but it just wouldn't adhere to the base for some reason. It was like too, for lack of a better word, like paint phobic. It just bubbled up. So it did adhere, but it's starting to flake off. Like here, like if I rub this would all just start to flake off. There's other miniatures though from BMC, they don't seem to do that. I washed them with a light detergent and then I spray painted them black with a rattle can primer. So the paint sticks to the primer rather than the plastic. And I've been handling them all pretty rigorously the past week because this project's taking me too long. But none of the paint's rubbed off. So the primer, a good priming coat, base coat is pretty necessary. Even if you go straight to painting on a plastic miniature, like a high quality miniature, like a Tamiya model or a Games Workshop miniature, that will also rub off a lot more easily, especially with very thin applications of the paint. So you need to use a primer, but then you need to make sure you do the priming right by not over priming and spraying too heavy, and you'll lose all the details. 1 to 2 very, very thin coats of spray on primer from a rattle can is good. And you just get a thin coat by being far enough away that it covers the miniature in one pass and then without it leaving like a dripping mess. Yeah, you're welcome, man. I hope that helps. You weren't using a primer, I'm guessing? Hey, Joey Wilcoxon. Yeah, man. Sorry about that. That is unfortunate. The primer is a necessity. It looks like. I always use one. I have been in instances. I've tried to do it without primer just to see if I could get like a thinner application, like not lose any of the details. But I ended up just rubbing them all off. So now I use Vallejo, spelled Vallejo in English, paint, and that's my favorite primer. It's the cheapest that I've seen locally from my local hobby stores, and it actually kind of smells nice. It doesn't smell like egregious like some like Krylon or that other brand. I can't even remember what the other brand is that I've used. Starts with a T. Testo? Something like that. They all smell like straight up spray paint. The Vallejo has an interesting smell. It doesn't smell awful. Still shouldn't breathe it in heavily, but okay, so I am looking at here. We'll zoom out for a second. I got my 7 guys. Now it's onto the guns. And I have 2 guns to paint. 1, 2. They need to be painted with wood stocks, and that shouldn't be too complicated. Yeah, I think that's the only other wood things. Okay, so these guys will go off to the side. I'm gonna grab some brown. So what I've got here are two different, I have a couple browns I was looking through. I'm gonna go with my flat brown, which is dark, but I don't really have anything lighter for wood. I mean, my paint selection is what it is. I pick up new paints all the time, but I still have gaps in colors, so I have to do a lot of my own mixing from time to time. But for the purposes of these guns, I'm just gonna lay down some flat brown, then I'll highlight with something a bit brighter. So let me get in here, zoomed in. Hey Alvaro, thank you, man. Appreciate you stopping. Oh, excuse me. Appreciate you stopping by. Painting rifles. Okay. Maximum focus, Jimmy. I'm gonna stick with my number 1 brush. I think that'll be fine. Keep the point pointy. Get the... Okay, so these these sculpts start to lose detail. And I'm not totally familiar with what the exact gun is, but I'm pretty sure that the gun barrel runs all the way across the top. So as I'm painting the wood, I don't want to go straight to the top. I want to infer or imply the barrels run to the top. So, and I don't have any sculpt. There's nothing in the sculpt to indicate it clearly. So I'm going to just do my best to draw a line here. The quirks of painting army men. Just don't get the detail. But good for practicing. So I did order some high quality models from Tamiya, American troops, and I have some Germans as well. So the goal is to start to mix them in, like mix in model painting with the figure painting, but with the army men painting, to show off some higher detail paint techniques, and just to work on them too. I'm not a crazy expert with anything. I just enjoy this a lot, so I will I'll be using more high quality miniatures in the future to discuss some points about painting higher quality as well. So you can only do so much without having to, like, there's no wood grain texture on these guns, so painting a wood grain texture, that would be a bit of an advanced technique. But on some miniatures, that texture would already be there, so it comes through a bit easier. Not sure how much really I need to paint the underside of this guy. Right, that's a good base coat for that gun. Appreciate everyone who's been hanging around, saying hey. I don't have a ton to talk about, so if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. It doesn't have to be painting related. 12:30 here. I've been painting for about an hour and 15 minutes. I'm aiming to get off, I think, in about a half hour. I'm going to need a break, but I might come back on and finish these up in another live session tomorrow if I can't get them done off camera. I mean, I'm still going to record them, but I might not do them live because I want to be able to turn it into a short or a long form video at some point. I've got so many videos like backlogged, long form content. It's just the editing takes so much time and it's so expensive to hire an editor that I stick to the short form content for now. Editing videos, like I can paint something. Say I paint something for 2 hours. I can edit that down to a 1 minute short in about 30 minutes. Like picking the music, make sure the pacing is good. That's pretty quick. Like boiling it down isn't hard. But then when I get into editing the longer format videos, anything that's like 10 minutes, like I was trying to do 10 minutes, but a lot of my stuff ends up being about 5 minutes. That stuff. You know what? I don't think this is. That stuff takes me hours and hours to do, the longer form content. Plus, I can't use the library of music that YouTube provides for free. Like I can't have Metallica songs in a long format video, which sucks. It sucks, but that's copyright. So right now I'm playing Twitch safe music for creators and streamers through my iPad, which is next to me, and then I've got my computer straight ahead where I can see chat and just to make sure I'm in frame. Okay, so that was a good first pass on these rifles. I'm just gonna let them dry. And I'll do another thin coat, maybe do some highlights on them. So from that, I'm gonna do the faces. And in order to do that, I need to figure out what I'm going to do like I'm going to just apply a wash. And I think what I'll do is I'll take this flat brown and I'll make it very thin. And I will just apply it as a wash because I do have washes, but they're all Citadel they're Citadel and Army Painter washes and they dry glossy, so I don't want that effect. So right here with this, I'm going to thin down this flat brown. And you can see my guy here. Let me make sure he's in frame before I do anything. Zoom. Now I've made my own little very thin wash. I'm going to just hit him in the eye sockets. And work the paint into the recesses a little bit. So this is very thin. It shouldn't be a problem. And it should dry flat, rather as opposed to like the glossy washes I have. I got on my shopping list to get Vallejo washes. They sell a set, so next time I go to the hobby store, I'm going to pick it up. They sell a set of washes, and I'm pretty sure they dry flat matte as well, so I don't have to worry about the glossiness anymore. Then it'll be a lot easier to just slap it out. So I'm not exactly sure how this is going to turn out. Some nice thin wash here. I don't think I'm going to bother with painting these eyes any further. There's just nothing there to paint. It's like these little weird recesses in the figure sculpt. It's like I'm not sure what they they want me to do with that. I probably did not intend for people to paint these. Sorry, I'm a little off center there, off the screen. Try to do better. Trying to push the paint into the recesses a bit more. But the texture is so damn porous. It gets like caught in weird places. All right, we'll come back to that one after we let it chill for a second. So this guy I practiced a lot of blending on, just straight from the paint without any washes. And it looks good in person, but on camera it was not giving me the same effect because there was so much camera sees that my eyes can't. And I have 20/20 vision, but a camera is very, very unforgiving. So like looking at these guys in person is just a different experience. Any miniature really. Your eyes are also focusing on one thing at a time. And when you have the picture, everything's in focus. It can be hard to know. Like it just doesn't do the paint job justice. Like, so I now have to get better at painting to be photograph quality, like those GW painters. That's really hard to paint like that. I've watched lots of tutorials and lessons, and I've been painting for like 4 years now, and it's really, really difficult. But it helps to have a really good sculpt. These are not that. They are fun to paint though, and they do look good. You just, you have to sacrifice some detail. It really depends on the person, like what your standards are. My standards are pretty mid, to be completely honest. I like to have an overall effect when I'm looking at something. Like, okay, like that looks cool. And if the details are there, great. I think that's more to appreciate. But I'm looking for a larger effect of just unity and conformity with this group of people, like this group of soldiers. So all together they look good. And especially like 6 to 8 inches apart away from your face. But then on the camera, it's like how do I really sell that without bringing out too much of the paint details or the goofiness of the sculpt. Like this guy is so goofy. His face is like contorted, and he's like screaming. I think that's very silly looking. I don't know how to make that look great. And like the eyes are got like one's like squinty eye, and one's like wide open. It's just silly. What country's military is my favorite to paint? I do have a lot of Germans painted. I think well, it's a lot of, no matter what military I'm painting, the variety isn't really there. I mean, the Germans are cool depending on the era. I like these guys a lot. I wish, again, like I said, I wish the plastic was harder and not so soft. I've liked painting the Airfix brand Germans, and I've liked painting the Airfix Commandos. The U.S. military guys are pretty good. Uh, so it depends on the make, like who makes them. Like the Airfix, pretty much everything Airfix has been nice to paint. And then like the BMC models, they're like, I've got a BMC Japanese soldier here that I was painting for a little bit, but they're all goofy. Like they all lack detail. Like this guy's neck is hilarious. Like I even carved away like pieces of the flash that came apart with this. Like he loses all detail in his hand. His thumb just becomes a blob that flows into his arm. These look cool painted simply and from like a little distance away, because there's just no detail to add. Hold on one second. So I got the this is the Japanese soldier from like my most popular short, which almost has a 900,000 views, which is pretty cool. And he doesn't have a ton of detail in him. He's one of the more detailed figures in terms of like what he's got, but there's like not a ton of detail in his face. There's just nothing really to paint there. It's just blobs. So I just went for like a look, like an aesthetic. You just get the idea of it like that. Those are cool to paint like that. But then the German stuff, the German Airfix guys, I was using them to paint like Team Fortress 2 style. Like they're simple, but they've got, you know, clear defined lines throughout most of the individual elements, but they do get sort of like putty-like and morph together in the finer details of the fingers. Here's another. For some reason, I can't see your oh, okay. You should paint some armies and plastics. Random guy, aren't they all 1/72 scale? The armies in plastic? Or do they make a larger scale? So this guy is the same BMC as this guy. He's the same, from the same set. And he was a lot more fun to paint, but he was a bit better of a sculpt than some others. The details were all pretty clearly defined. He had a good pressing whenever they made him. So he was fun for the variety. This is the other one. So I think these were just like camo tests. I thought about selling them as individual figures, but I kind of like them just as like keeping one as a test example. I even thought about keeping one of these and then selling these as a set of 6, which I still might do. That's why I have like example camouflages that I can refer back to. So that's still on the maybe list of things to follow through with. This way I just keep one example of everything for myself. Yeah, military though, I think the Germans had a lot of cool stuff. I mean, the US is very consistently olive drab green and khaki throughout all of their colors and camouflages, even into the late war, I believe. So there's not a lot of variety. I think in terms of variety, the German military stuff is probably the most fun to paint. Yeah, Japanese, very simple. English uniforms. I don't actually have some English Airfix soldiers coming. I've never actually painted them. I've only painted British Commandos. So we'll see how they look. But the cool stuff I like to do with the US military figures is like add in little details on the helmet. Like I drew a skull on this one. I was up too far. I drew a skull on this one. And on the other side, I've got a spade. You could like easily draw the captain's insignia here. I didn't clean up the mold lines on these guys, but so many people have said I should in comments that now I feel obligated to do it when I can. It just adds so much time to the process, which is fine. If I'm going to be selling them, I want to give people a quality product, you know. So, I put one guy down. I shouldn't have. Okay, so I like this effect of just using a very washed down flat brown and then pulling it down into the recesses and into the neck. Like on this one guy right here, I think that's looking pretty good. It's giving me some contrast in the face at least that I didn't have. So going back to my buddy over here now that he's dry, I think just like another soft application, a little tickle of this very thinned down flat brown to increase the contrast from the highest point of his face to the lowest. I'll give it a little bit of contrast and look nice, rather than just have it all be pink and pale. And reminding myself not to overwork anything. Okay, so this guy's exceptionally pink, so we'll have to get in here. It's almost like just glazing the faces to bring the tones down, but then having it, like pulling it all to the bottom to concentrate it, rather than let it pool up in the recesses, just pull it all down. My dog's barking at something. I think he hears the mailman, so he's gonna be loud, I'm sorry. This happens every day. The mail's a little late today. Was he? Your mask? You're probably the mask. I don't know specifically who he's supposed to be. I know he looks like an officer, and he is from the U.S. set. It's like just the Airfix Americans. So he's supposed to be a airborne infantry regiment soldier. That's cool. I don't know how you're supposed to tell, I guess, other than the uniform, right? He does look like the guys in what is that movie I'm thinking of? I guess it's Band of Brothers. You see some of the airborne infantry, they're wearing similar jackets. They didn't have a whole lot in terms of like stuff to carry around. I feel like the modern soldier is completely covered head to toe in like bandoliers and pouches. When you look back on those old guys, and they've just got jackets and pants on. Similarly, Vietnam too. I feel like the loadouts in Vietnam were always so thin because they had a hump so much during the day, right? They go out on patrol, they didn't wear nothing. Oh, the spade is the 506 symbol. Oh, okay. See, I just remembered seeing one on something. I didn't look it up. I was like, let me just try this it was purely from memory, and that was probably from seeing it in a movie or something. And then the skull obviously wasn't, I don't think that's from anything, but it was something I wanted to see if I could easily hand paint at that size. And it turned out fine. It was just like an experiment. These guys are all just experiments, really. But that's cool that you shared that with me. I will look into that more for sure, and consider it when I paint anything in the future too, so I can be more accurate with things. It was actually difficult to figure out what color to paint these guys based on what I was finding online, and I eventually it was very confusing to determine if these guys were early war or late war, and I believe they are I believe these guys are supposed to be early war Sultan troops, but it's really hard to tell because their jackets look looser than some other examples I've seen. So I used I used the color palette from a Tamiya box I have. So on the box, they look like they're painted green. And a lot of reference photos show the green uniforms. But on the back, they painted them just field gray, like German field gray. I was back and forth on what to do with these. So I went with this color scheme. I really don't know specifically if it's supposed to be part of a specific, part of the army, the German army, but I kind of want to leave that up to imagination a little bit too. And I may get more into being historically accurate as I learn more, but right now, the focus is on the painting. Heart symbols for the first. That's cool. Yeah, I have seen posters of like what all of the patches and symbols are, but I didn't memorize it. But it is a pretty quick Google search. I can certainly find it again if I want to be more historically accurate. I've been told that these are, I believe, SS soldiers, Luftwaffe. I don't know for sure. There's nothing on the packaging to really indicate that either way, other than like maybe the helmet style and the uniform style. Someone with a lot of extensive war knowledge might know. But I find that stuff, it's interesting. I love it. I love the history of everything. I love military insignias, but I find it to be a bit much. It's a bit overwhelming with so many different variants and stuff, especially with the gun names too. I get a little turned around on them. So who else needs a wash over here? This guy actually needs some bit of highlights on his face too. But we'll leave him as a darker color. Got a bit more of a tan than the rest. Bit of variety. I do get bored painting the same thing over and over and over and over again. So I need to find ways to make it fun for myself by adding in variety when I can. So skin colors are a good way to do that, skin tones. But obviously I don't want it to be too dark because I don't want it to be like, well, that doesn't make sense. So I try to be, I guess, historically accurate in some sense, right? Yeah, that's what I thought too. I guess maybe they were responding to in regards to them being SS, that the camouflage I painted on the one guy, the Liebermuster camouflage, maybe that's what they were talking about. Maybe he looked more like he was SS. Maybe they had specific camo that I'm not aware of that they wore. That's what one person said. I need to research it. I don't know if I should get a book. It's hard to find. I seem to find contradictory information when I search for uniform colors online. So I do try to go by suggested colors, like Vallejo suggested paint scheme colors. I have this heart thing that's in my way. I don't know how to remove it. So in the chat, right in chat, there's similar to frog camo. Yeah. Right in chat, there's a heart covering up the last word on the right hand side of my sentences. It's very, very weird. I don't know how to get rid of it. All right, been streaming for 99 minutes. I'm starting to get hungry for lunch, so it might be time to call it at, I'm going to say, 1:15. And I will finish painting up everything I can to get these ready for sale on eBay. and I will record it, but I won't be live for the recording. I'll just get to it later and make a video out of it. Well, speaking of videos, the views, man, they've been just crushed. I had a great summer, but now that kids are back in school, my views are back to what they were from before I even had all these subscribers. So thank you to everyone who has joined me today, and everyone who has liked and subscribed and shared the YouTube shorts or whatever video you sort of started watching me from. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna keep making stuff, just trying to, make it interesting for myself, and a lot of that comes through like practicing editing, and that takes a long time. So I have a couple videos in the works, but they move at a snail's pace compared to posting a short. Plus, the shorts have been working great just for drumming up general interest, and I think that's nice. That I can share in the community tab when I'm posting something for sale, and I can use that as a way to sort of subsidize and monetize the channel. Because I despite having 15,000 followers, I'm not monetized because I don't have enough views or watch hours. You can only get views. You can only get watch hours from long form content. And all my viewers are from shorts, so I need to have like crazy amounts of views from shorts, like 3 million in 90 days. And it's looking like I might fall short of that as of right now. So yeah, selling what I've been painting will help for sure. And then I don't have to worry about all the clutter, because I just got way too much everywhere. Okay, faces are in a good spot. They've all got a little wash. I guess this guy needs a little bit of something. Nah, I like the way he looks. He's fine. This guy's hands, I think, just need more color to them. So I might actually grab some pale flesh and give him a bit more. He needs a bit more consideration on his hands. I missed them when I was painting before, so now let's check everyone else's hands. I think I got everybody else. Oh, nope, he needs it too. Okay, so that makes it more worth it. So what I'll do is I'll grab some pale flesh for skin tone. I think I'm going to do, yeah, I'll do some pale flesh and then hit the fingers with some highlights, and that should be enough. I'm going to tone them brown real quick. Okay. Well, no, I'll use skin tone because pale flesh is it's a bit too bright. Plus I'll be toning this down a little bit with the brown afterwards anyway. Zoom out here, I'm not getting everything in frame. So here's the Vallejo skin tone. Alrighty, so I've got it on my palette, get a lot of the moisture off. Okay. Yeah, so this is it's a bit bit too bright. We'll see how it looks when it dries, but I'm gonna have to go back in and tone it down real quick with the flat brown again. These hands don't have like a ton of crazy detail, so I mean, I just really need to get the basic structure down, apply the highlight. Don't overwork it, don't overwork it. These damn mold lines, even though I tried to clean them up, they're still not perfect, and can make for a frustrating painting experience. Be painting across a detail and then there's a line going down it. You don't get the paint as smoothly as you wanted to. I wish I like painting Warhammer because obviously the models are the best, like for the quality, but they're also like most of the troops are so tiny. I wish there was a larger scale. You can obviously buy bigger guys, but I like painting the 132 scale Army Men a lot. That's a nice scale for my eyes and my own taste. Real small, it's like, wow, it's just so small. Quickly tone these down with some flat brown. Completely missed the other side of his hand in here. But I kind of like when stuff like that's dark and detailless because it's not really the important focus anyway, so I won't beat myself up over it this time. Hey Jake Young, that's awesome, man. I haven't painted too much Marvel. I painted a 3D print of a Spider-Man, and I have a Wolverine to paint as well. That's 75 millimeter. And I have found there's a fantastic painter who just paints Marvel, from what I've seen recently anyway. And I could share his info with you if you might already follow him on YouTube. He's incredible. He's got great videos too. They're very process oriented, and they have a great structure and pacing. They're a little long. I mean, they're like about half hour each, but they're very detailed for a painting video. I forget his name off the top of my head, but let me see if I can find him real fast in my subscriptions. I think it's starts with an S. Seratus or something like that. Sarastros? Is that it? Yeah, Sarastros. So I'll share his. He's got 140,000 subs, and he's earned them, man. So here. He's great. He's a fantastic Marvel painter. So now his hands kind of look dirty, which doesn't look bad. I mean, it kind of makes sense. His hands would be dirty. This time I'm going to mix the brown and skin tone color together and paint the hands with that rather than do the skin tone followed by the light glaze of brown. So I don't really want to go crazy with it. Just like a little step up in terms of highlight should be fine. Yeah, that's honestly fine. That looks cool. Decent. His face, he looks like he saw The Ring or something. It's got like a grudge mouth. Silly. Yeah, Jake Young, let me know if you like that guy. I don't even know if you're still here. I think I've only got one watcher with me right now, but that's cool. I'm going to be stopping here in 5 minutes anyway. Down to just me. I think that was a pretty successful, I guess lunchtime is over too, so anybody who was coming over on their lunch break or school lunch break, probably going back to doing what they were doing. Check out these guns again. My doggy going crazy. Well, I guess it's a good time to stop because my dog is barking and no one's here, so it's a good time to just jet off. All right, if you stayed to the end, if you jumped to the end, thanks for watching. Feel free to comment. If you have any questions about anything I did in here, I do check my comments. And I do try to respond to everybody who isn't a dick. So have a great day. Thanks for joining me. And I will let you guys know in the community tab when these guys are ready to purchase. Have a great rest of your day. And sorry to everyone who's just joining now, but I am signing off. Talk to you soon.